Thank you. Thank you, Secretary Romulo, for your introduction. And thank you also for all the hard work that you have been doing for veterans benefits way back when you were still a senator. Thank you. Yes. Um, Ambassador Christy Kenny and our other friends in the United States, Senator Lito Lapid, representing the Senate, our various congressmen and congresswomen who are here with us today, led by our Deputy Speaker, Deputy Speakers, okay, members of the Cabinet, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and of course, our honorees today and our honorees in the special provision in the stimulus package, the veterans, the Filipino World War II veterans. Our long battle for justice for our Filipino World War II veterans has achieved a great victory. And I would like to join Secretary Romulo and Colonel De Ocampo in thanking the U.S. Congress for passing the bill and President Barack Obama for signing into law the stimulus package that grants cash benefits for Filipino World War II veterans in payment of damages for human suffering that they endured in their military service during the Second World War. And I might add, when I thank the senators and congressmen who worked very hard for this bill, they said, please make sure to remind everybody that this is in addition to the present benefits they are already getting, not in replacement of. In other words, in addition to the recognition of their military service and the lump sum payments that are now forthcoming, those enjoying the supplementary security income will be able to continue with that benefit. With the passage of the bill and the stroke of a pen, the U.S. Congress and the U.S. President recognized, as Secretary Romulo said, more than 60 years of struggle endured by surviving Filipino veterans for World War II. And Secretary Romulo and Colonel De Ocampo have mentioned some of the legislators, the leading legislators, to whom we owe this very important recognition and benefits, aside from President Obama, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, Senators Daniel Inouye and Daniel Akaka, and I might also add Senator Richard Lugar, and we have already mentioned Congressman Bob Filner. I should add also Congressman Daryl Issa and Mike Honda, and former Senator Ted Stevens, and many other senators and congressmen who have been staunch supporters of Filipino veterans all these years. These are the congressmen and senators that we have been working with all these years. Every time we go to Washington, every time we go to California, and every time they come to the Philippines. We look forward to the speedy implementation of the provisions for Filipino veterans in the stimulus bill. We will continue working with the U.S. government in ensuring that benefits and recognition are given to our veterans. In order to speed up these benefits, I already told Secretary Chador about this yesterday. Today, I am directing the Philippine Veterans Affairs Office to put up temporary processing centers in provinces with a large number of World War II veterans to speed up the processing of the benefits. The temporary centers shall be called PVAW Fast Track Centers. The roster of surviving World War II veterans, now with PVAW, and the updated database of government agencies that have records of living veterans will be the basis for where the PVAW FTCs shall be located. This will spare the veterans who have served our country and the cause of freedom from the physical torture and cost of going to Metro Manila to have their claims processed. The dispersal of the PVAU staffers to carry out outreach programs in the provinces will also help them develop a keener understanding of the problems faced by our war veterans. The PVAU staffers to be assigned to the temporary processing centers are hereby instructed to coordinate with the regional offices of the Department of Foreign Affairs and the local government leaders in their areas of assignment to fast-track centers. Our PVAU staffers should also need to communicate in simple and easy-to-understand language the entire continued processing exercise. In their old age and in the winter of their lives, the veterans need more than ever the tender and caring hand of government. Speaking of old age, I'd like to spend this day remembering those who did not live to see this day. There was my father, who was in the guerrilla movement, in charge of holding the funds of the guerrillas in his area in San Juan, and that's where he earned the term Macapagal, the incorruptible. I'd like to remember my uncle, his brother, Congressman Angel Macapagal, who was in the death march. But because the death march passed through our hometown of Lubao, Pampanga, when he was drinking water, he noticed that nobody noticed him. So he was able to get out, escape from the death march, as many others were able to do during that march from Bataan to Capas. Of course, more were not able to find a way to escape. They did not pass to their hometowns. They did not know. They were not familiar with the areas in which they were. I even want to remember our family chauffeur, Osias Navarro, who had to leave his family, our cook, and his children, one of whom now works with us and one of whom married American and lived in the United States. He had to leave them in the Philippines so he could live in the United States, so he could earn, he could receive the monthly veterans pensions, and you have to live in the U.S. to be eligible for that. And I remember getting his visa in the U.S. Embassy and working for his green card. I remember my daughter rehearsing him for his interview in the U.S. Embassy. I remember all of them, and I think they're happy for all of you who are still alive here today. We also congratulate President Obama for his keen leadership that led to the passage of the stimulus bill as a whole. In all of our calculations, the world must take the poorest people into account at the same time that we are looking at ways to help develop economies. We observe that the welfare of the poorest people and the poorest economies are not yet a priority as the world searches for solutions to the global crisis. And we urge that it must be made a priority moving forward. The inclusion in the stimulus bill of payments of Filipino World War II veterans is an example of what we have been advocating for. That is, in looking for solutions to the crisis, we must not neglect the hardships of those most hurt by the global downturn, including our Filipino veterans. I hope the payments to Filipino World War II veterans, as included in the stimulus package, will be followed by other measures all over the world to help the downtrodden during this world crisis. In closing, Ambassador Kenny, please convey to President Obama that we join the rest of the world in supporting his efforts to bring financial recovery to the U.S. and to the whole world. Congratulations, good luck, and thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. That ends our program for this morning. Maraming salamat po sa ating Filipino World War II veterans. We would like to invite our guests to please participate